Families, staff, council and trust, lead patron, graduates and friends, it's my privilege to welcome you to Liverpool and our 19th graduation. The process of learning is continuous and never-ending, but for most of us, full-time education is likely to finish in our teens or early 20s, and that will be true for the majority of students here today. We're honoured to have played our part in your full-time education, possibly the final part. Our challenge has been to fulfil your specific needs while matching these with the reality of performing arts work and employment. Nothing gives us greater satisfaction than to see you, our students, unlock your potential, build your skills, confidence and self-belief to play your part in the professional world. You are leaving us with a strong understanding of how your discipline works, artistically and commercially, and how your work can thrive if you work as part of a team, appreciating your co-workers and the way that everyone, whatever their role and status, has a contribution to make. We hope you may be saying in many years to come that your time with us was enjoyable, hard work, invaluable, and has played a part in your success. Today is your day, celebrating the culmination of the part of the learning journey that you, our students, set out upon when you came through our doors for the first time. And we're here to celebrate you today. In relative terms, we still regard ourselves as a young institution. From the early years through to the present day, we've been faced and are still being faced with challenges of many kinds. I would like to pay tribute today to the many people who supported us and encouraged us over the years. Amongst these supporters are our companions and honoured friends. These are individuals at the top of their respective professions who have given their time freely to teach, mentor and share their own experiences with our students. Their contributions are invaluable. This year we're extending our sincere thanks to David Babani, Darren Henley, Alan Lane, Martin Levin, Christopher Mano, Professor Tim Prentke, Tom Robinson, Greta Scarci and Christopher Schutt, who all become LIPA companions. And we're also recognising and thanking Tetsuo Hamada and Paul Whiting, who become honoured friends. An enduring thank you goes to our staff for their skill, their patience, energy and enthusiastic commitment. On behalf of the graduates, I'd also like to recognise the support of your families and friends. You will know how invaluable they've been in helping you to achieve your potential. This year, I think perhaps more than ever, it's appropriate to comment on our international links. We're proud of the worldwide reputation we've developed. Government statistics consistently show we have the highest concentration of international students of any UK performing arts higher education institution. The performing arts transcends all geographical boundaries and it brings the world closer together. And I have no doubts whatsoever that our students and our graduates benefit from our pan-global positioning. Against that background, we're delighted to give a special welcome to the families and friends who travel from near and far to be with us today, from places such as Slovakia, South Korea and Solihull. And to all of our guests, thank you for joining us today. Finally, before we watch how this year's graduating class have been spending their time with us, and before our students are presented for their awards, it remains for me to declare this, our 2016 graduation, open. Thank you very much.
This next one's called Unstoppable.
I wake up and feel the air. There's a war raging on, there's a storm coming down right here. I can't go on, not on my own. I'll have to run away. So take my hand and close your eyes, and we will run through the bullet rain. They can crush my bones and do what it please, but as long as I got you, they won't bring me to my knees. You house of stone, they're all around. Let's tear them to the ground. We must go on, we gotta be strong, see it through and carry on. So take my hand and close your eyes, and we will run through the bullet rain. They can crush my bones and do what they please, but as long as I got you, they won't bring me to my knees. You'll stand for me, I'll stand for you. We should go to a place I know, to rest our minds and very souls, so we'll become unstoppable. A part of me, a part of you, a part of all that we've been through. You will become, you will become unstoppable. Unstoppable. They can crush my bones and do what they please, but as long as I got you, they won't bring me to my knees. You'll stand for me, I stand for you. We should go to a place I know, to rest our minds and very souls, so we'll become unstoppable. A part of me, a part of you, a part of all that we've been through. You will become, you will become unstoppable. Thank you.
For the award of Bachelor of Arts with Honours in Sound Technology, Peter Alexander Blacksil. Rory Martin Kavanagh. With first class honours, Aaron Matthew Clifford. With first class honours, William Stewart Cooper. Patrick David Doyle. With first class honours, Jonathan Richard Else. Manuel Cid Liao Fernandez Saldana. Michael James Fisher. Rachel Lee Hoying Forday. Callum Gilmore. With first class honours, Sivet Yetnes Hagtvet. Django Jack Holder. Anders Ormot Johnson. With first class honours, Simen Helbach Scholberg. Matthew Linklater. With first class honours, Jake Lewis Medler. Joel Royven Naisbitt. James William Newmarch. Nadav Nir. With first class honours, Rachel Catherine Park. Jack Christopher Petch. James Robert Smallwood. Jacob Mark Smith. Andrew Treble. With first class honours, Harry Tully. With first class honours, Andrew John Watts. Joshua Callum Whitaker.
Now, we give a few awards for companions, and I'm here basically to tell you why. The first one will be Martin, who's there. And there are two reasons. Since we began, we wanted students to be taught by people who've done the job rather than just read about the job. And as you'll hear later on this afternoon, experience and experiential learning is something we prize. Now, no institution is better than the teachers and the people who support teaching, and Ian has already paid tribute to our staff. Aside from the teaching staff who've done the job and often still do, each year, first-rank professionals share their professional lives and experiences with us, lead workshops, seminars, masterclasses. So that's the first reason. Every companion has taught us. That is all of us. The second is that they're luminaries. Their professional lives are lives to learn from. Previous companions like Gemma Bodines, Kevin Godley, Nicholas Grace, Noddy Holder, Steve Levine, Tony Platt, David Stark are with us today, as is an honoured friend, Janice Long. All have contributed and continue to contribute to our learning. So have patrons. Wayne Sleep is with us today. Being in the provinces, we have to make a greater effort to find these noble people to spend time with us, as do they in coming to Liverpool. Over 140 have joined us this year. That's why we give these awards. Now, our first companion, Martin. You stand, and the whole of your life passes in a moment. You're a music producer and a sound engineer, and you deserve major credit, allowing us to hear what feels like natural sound in an unnatural place. Here today is just but one example. You enabled what wasn't acoustic to sound acoustic. This was a challenge you brilliantly met during the 80s and the 90s, designing sound for Andrew Lloyd Webber's shows that included Phantom of the Opera, Cats, Starlight Express, and Sunset Boulevard. Immeasurably helped later with miniaturization, the arrival of modern radio transmitter, digital technology, which you said, rightly, was a massive game changer. You left us with this observation. Our instincts and what we feel about what we're hearing are the greatest measures of what we, as sound engineers, are doing. It's constant discovery. You've produced and engineered cast albums, including the Broadway production of Cats, which won the Grammy Award for the Best Cast Show Album. 18 years ago, you set up your own studio in a peaceful and a remote location in Wales, so not that far away from us. Martin, we are honoured that you are here today to become one of our companions. Now, you move down here.
How can I follow that? It's
Oh, no.
impossible, isn't it? Absolutely impossible. First of all, I'd just like to thank the college, and most especially Mark and John, who have offered me this companionship, which was totally unexpected. And to the students, and students that are still here, and those that have graduated, I found LIPA such an amazing place to come and visit. You're all very, very fortunate to have such a fantastic facility to learn your skills here. Of course, in my day, which is some years ago now, we didn't have any colleges like this to do sound. No one taught sound and technology for sound. So we had to learn on the job. And I just remember one little story. I'm looking at the students because I'm kind of talking to them as much as talking to you guys. I remember one little story. Soon after I got a job in a studio in London in the very early 70s, way back then. I've been there a few weeks and I've been watching the sessions. I was running tape machines and things. And I remember saying to the engineer, a fantastic engineer that had recorded some marvellous albums and top stuff. And I said, Robin, I see what happens. It comes in the microphone, goes down a wire, goes into the desk, goes through a fader, goes to the tape machine, comes back to the desk, goes to the speakers. I've got all that, worked all that out. But I'm a bit puzzled. Every now and again, you lean forward on the desk and you'll turn one of the EQ knobs up or down. And I said, why do you do that? What makes you decide to turn it that way or the other way? And he kind of looked at me quite blankly and said, well, just turn it till I like it. And so much for theory, all that stuff. Anyway, so enjoy your journey. When you're working on things, find what you believe in, what you feel, go with that, and have a great career, all of you. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
For the award of Bachelor of Arts with Honours in Community Drama, Lydia Louise Blackburn. Megan Elise Campbell. John Michael Cowie. With first-class honours, Emily Laura Darley. Adam John Hurd. Ashley Louise Kelly. Jake Richard Lycan. Adam Mayhew. Florence McCudden. With first class honours, Rachel Jane McDougall. With first class honours, Shannon Sarah Merrick. Katie Ann Milner. With first class honours, Annie Neat Farnfield. Liana Claire Owens. With first class honours, Emily Mary Page. Amanda Caroline Roberts. With first class honours, Lauren Jane Sanderson. Charlotte Louise Scragg. Ryan William Sharp.
Right, Tim, can you stand now? Now, your life is going to pass across in a flash, at least one part of it anyway. You co-created the undergraduate course in community theatre and documentary video at the University of Winchester, pioneering project-based learning, self and peer assessment. You designed and led a master's course that sent students on semester-long projects across the world, and you became the first professor of theatre for development in this country. In this role, you have facilitated training sessions in theatre and development for NGO workers. As you rightly told us, I'll just pluck this out of one of the things that you said, to present the world that we have as the only one there could be is a lie. We are sold this by people who are taking a rake off. There are always alternatives. Through what we do, the people we are the people who can make change. Currently, your main international work is in Serbia, working with displaced orphans. You regularly travel to southern Brazil, where you train community facilitators. You've written books, and you're co-editor of the Applied Theatre Reader. Tim, we are honoured that you are here today to become a LIPA companion.
Thank you very much, Mark, Paul, Brendan. The honour is very much all mine, and it's very rare, I think, for a crusty-old academic to get this kind of recognition and light, even though the professionals are well used to it. I spent last week in Bethlehem as a guest of a wonderful theatre company called Al-Hara. We were working on a workshop symposium for young people who've experienced conflict. And it was a very humbling and wonderful experience to see how these artists, in the face of the illegal settlements that crept ever further down the hills that surround Bethlehem, were taking more and more of their homeland away. But their response was to train young children in what they call beautiful resistance. Instead of throwing stones at tanks and armoured cars, to throw stories, to tell stories, to communicate with the wider world. It was a telling and vivid example of the kind of potential of the work that I've been privileged to be involved in and associated with most of my working life. But we don't have to look so far afield to need the art of beautiful resistance, since all around us the need is very strong. These summer holidays that we are embarking upon, one parent in 5 will each day go without a meal so that their children get enough to eat while the free school meals are in abeyance. So there is plenty of work to be done in combating injustice, inequality, round the corner or the other side of the world. And I'm thrilled that the graduates from the community drama programme here are wonderfully equipped to take on that challenge with the skills, with the discipline, with the creativity of their art making. And I commend them to the world and the world to them in the mutual work to make it a better place as a result of their labours. There was once a tidal wave that threw 1 million starfish onto the beach. Now, the starfish doesn't survive long out of water. Soon after, 2 people came walking along that beach, and one started carrying starfish as fast as she could back into the sea so that they might survive. And the other turned to her and said, "What's the point? There are thousands of others that you'll never reach in time. This is a futile exercise. What does it matter?" And the other one said, "It matters to the ones I can put back in time." Thank you.
For the award of Bachelor of Arts with Honours, Music Theatre and Entertainment Management, with first class honours, Robert Cameron Allen. James Richard Bailey. With first class honours, Rebecca Ashley Bell. Holly Boston. Kirsty Campbell. Poppy Davenport. Charlene Angela Davies. Lee Elkin. Sophie Ellsworth. Iona Forbes. Georgina Alice Freeman. Hannah Jane Garrett. Isaac Garside. With first class honours, Beatrice Grabajita. Paul Gerald Hanna. With first class honours, Lauren Kate Hemmingfield. Sophie Louise Keane. With first class honours, Daniel Cranes. Fionn Rebecca Lewis. With first class honours, Margarita Zambika McGrath. With first class honours, Jenna Minahan. With first class honours, Diana Moga. Jed Gallagher Mountain. Erica Victoire Mulumata. Gabrielle Mary Rita Murphy. Hannah Kathleen Murray. With first class honours, Jessica Cora Plummer. Nicole Dominique Marie Robinson. With first class honours, Alexandra Emily Rombaud. Max Gavin Simpson. With first class honours, Helen Marie Claire Smith. Christopher Philip Daniel John Thomason. Ashley True. Aeneas Tarek Clodovic van Bootselaar. With first class honours, Joelle Vella. Samantha Karina Weiss. Lucas Desmond Wilkinson. For the awarded Diploma of Higher Education in Music, Theatre and Entertainment Management, Edvard Mikhailov Pettersson.
Now, we've got two companions for management this year, and the first one is David Babani. So, David, could you stand, please? In case none of you know, 12 years ago, this man co-founded and now runs the Menia Chocolate Factory Theatre in Southwark in South London as its artistic director. It has 184 seats and is attached to an 80-seater restaurant that subsidises ticket prices. Since then, 15 shows have transferred to the West End, The Truth being the latest, 4 to Broadway, which fulfills your wish. It's a kind of little John Lewis moment, this one. Never knowingly put on a show that's not entertaining. Your shows have won Olivier's and Tonys, but for you, that's not the point. As you told us, the only thing that drives me is standing at the back of a house, experiencing a group of strangers collectively, instinctively react to something I've done. The way we collectively and instinctively react as humans to our environment is so exciting. That's what I live for. And a proud mini moment for me was taking you back to Liverpool 9 Street with our very own graduate Richard Fitch, who was here directing Much Ado, but is associate director of your show Funny Girl, currently in the West End. And you're telling me coming to Liverpool in the spring, which is good news. David, we are honoured that you are here to become one of our companions.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Paul. It's a true honour to have this bestowed, and I think that LIPA is an incredible institution. The amount of, well, duh. In particular, Mark, I have to say the amount of different disciplines that are taught across the whole range of the arts is pretty unique to me. And I think one of the things that I found meeting your students and working with them was just the sheer enthusiasm was pretty contagious. And you should all be so proud of that. It's not like that everywhere, you know. And I have just a few little nuggets. None of them are particularly original, but these are things that when I started out, either I was lucky enough that somebody told me and I was actually listening at the time and it sunk in, or through making various mistakes over the course of my career, I've learned from them, and so therefore, you know, hopefully I won't make those mistakes again. That's actually the first good thing. Don't make the same mistake twice if you can possibly avoid it. One of the things that I'd like to say is that you should absolutely do everything you can to make yourselves indispensable. When you are trying to do a job and when you are wanting to sort of impress people or just make your way in our profession, make yourself indispensable, offer to do things that may not be the most exciting or fun things, and that doesn't matter whether it's you're an actor, you offer to run lines with your fellow co-workers, you can be offering to cut gels, you can be coiling cables, it doesn't matter, but it really will give you that leg up. It will really, A, show that you've got the right attitude, and B, show that you're game and that you're in it for the long run. And I think the long run is an important thing. I think you've got to decide if you want to do this, if you're in it for the long haul. It's a very, very long way up that ladder. And as you're going up that ladder, you know, you might be meeting people, and that's quite exciting, but sometimes you're on the way back down, you might meet them again. So it's very important that you treat everybody as you would like to be treated. I think that that's, you know, I know it's obvious, but I think it needs to be said, and I think it's a really great facet to have. Thank you. And then for me, obviously, the most important thing, which I think is really just LIPA personified, which is the rule is there are no rules. Like, in our world, anything can change, anything can be possible. Follow your dreams and don't let anybody tell you no. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Right, our second management companion is Darren Henley. So Darren, if you would stand. Now, you won an instant place in our hearts when you told us that there should be 3 major disciplines in schools: literacy, numeracy, and creativity, which is just what one of our earliest companions, Ken Robinson, would say, and more about this a bit later. You've been Chief Executive of the Arts Council for just over a year. And when you spoke with our students, you made it clear this body was a national body and that you needed to support and reflect the lives of everyone in the UK. And to that end, you were shifting what had been a 60-40 split of capital in the regions in lottery funding to 75 to 25 by 2018, which was cheering news. Without being partisan, you've devoted serious time to supporting Liverpool arts organisations and clearly feel warmly about what goes on in our city. We appeared in your 2014 book about why creativity and cultural education count. While you were heading Classic FM for 25 years, you were also busy writing a plethora of reports that actually had results. The creation of England's first national plan for music education, new networks of music education hubs and heritage schools, the Museums and Schools programme, the BFI Film Academy, and the National Youth Dance Company. Only last week, you sent me your latest book, very timely, The Arts Dividend: Why Investment in Culture Pays. I haven't had the time to count them all up, but I suspect there isn't a single city where you haven't seen a cultural event. You live what you believe. Arts for everyone. So Darren, we are honoured that you are here today to become one of our companions.
Good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody from LIPA for the warmth of their welcome. I feel incredibly honoured to have been made a companion today. It means an enormous amount to me, so thank you. The second thing I want to do is to talk a little about LIPA and LIPA's very talented students. As someone who's worked in the arts and media world for 25 years, I've watched with interest as LIPA has grown in stature. It's built a strong reputation on the national and international stage as a centre of excellence and innovation in learning. And everyone here today, whether they're staff or students, should be very proud of the part that they've played in developing LIPA's reputation. Higher education institutions like LIPA perform a vital role in giving students the skills that they will need in their working lives. Now, I'm not going to pretend it's going to be always a bed of roses out there for those of you graduating today, and by no means do I underestimate how difficult the job market can be. However, you do have an exciting and huge opportunity in front of you. I honestly do believe there's no limit to what you can achieve with a well-thought-out plan, an incredibly large amount of hard work, a little patience, and a great deal of focus on your end goal. You will find opportunities everywhere if you look hard enough. So make sure you seize them wherever you can. Nothing will land on your lap unless you go out looking for it. Once you start your search, you'll be amazed at where your career journey will take you. You are the creators of tomorrow. You will be leading the creative thinking and practice for decades to come. And your degree from LIPA will be the foundation upon which you build your achievements. I want to congratulate every one of you who are graduating today on your enormous achievement, and I really do wish you the best of luck and enormous success in your future career. I hope that you, like me, find yourself working in a job that you love and that you feel makes a real difference to the world around you. Thank you again for making me a companion today. Keep on creating, and thank you for listening.
For the award of Bachelor of Arts with Honours in Acting. With first class honours, Anna Rachel Berenson. James Sean Bottrell. With first class honours, Miles Braithwaite. Michael Andrew Bryan. Oliver Burkill. Joseph Carmichael. Jarrell Joshua Carter. With first class honours, Ronwyn Alice Cash. With first class honours, Sophie Elizabeth Mary Cottle. Connor Lee Dye. With first class honours, Abigail Fitzgerald. Bethany Fox. With first class honours, Sarah Gayagos. Mariella Lisha Giamarelli. Sophia Harrington. Scott Cragen Harrison. James Hill. Michael Holden. Joseph Scott Duncan Hood. Imogen Pearl Hudson. Hayley Jeanette Mashburn. Jodie Beth Mishike. Christopher Joseph Mohan. Anna Kubberstad Brockman Rasmussen. With first class honours, Annabelle May Terry. Jodie Alice Thackeray. Emily Magdalena Thompson. Claiborne Tomlinson. With first class honours, Matilda Mary Weaver. David Wilson. Joseph Ligon Wood III. Maisie Jade Young.
Now, clearly I'm not going to scratch you. I wish I was. Anyway, her appearance today was always going to be a little uncertain, and so it's turned out to be. She's in the midst of rehearsing her latest West End show, which is a revival of John Osborne's The Entertainer. So I'm going to read her citation. Then Nicholas Grace, who's been in conversation with her, will be accepting this award on her behalf. He's adept at doing this, since a few years ago he performed the same function for us and for another British actor and LIPA companion, Terence Stamp. So, this is what I would be saying to Greta. There can be few of us here today who have not seen you perform. You've been in 63 films and TV films, some 15 theatre shows, and one of them as Amanda in Tennessee Williams' The Glass Menagerie, which toured to Liverpool, which is how we managed to grab onto you, her. Films include, and TV includes, Heat and Dust, White Mischief, Presumed Innocent, don't know why, with Harrison Ford, and The Player. And your theatre work, what to choose? Maybe Yelena in Uncle Vanya, alongside Michael Gambon and Jonathan Pryce, Amanda in Private Lives, Hester in Deep Blue Sea, and Betty Davis in Betty and Joan. Awards and nominations have included 2 Emmys, Golden Globe, and numerous others. You graciously listened to some monologues to offer suggestions to our actors, and offered, amongst other nuggets, this piece of advice, which I thought was quite good. Write to people whenever you see something you admire and feel, if it ever happened again, that you would be a good collaborator. Probably 50% will throw it away, but 50% will keep it and recall it. Okay, now, it's fitting that Nicholas, where are you? You hope you're making your way here, is doing this because Greta and he first appeared together in the landmark film Heat and Dust, shot in India in 1982, and have been friends ever since. Nicholas is not just one of our companions, but delivers classes every year on top of his non-stop acting schedule, which recently saw him shooting Mozart in Prague. It's difficult to pick one or two of his creations from a lifetime of acting, but he's probably best known for Anthony Blanche in Brideshead Revisited and the Sheriff of Nottingham in Robin of Sherwood. So, Nick, please take the stage.
I'm not quite sure whether to do it as Greta or as me.
But Mark's very firmly told me to do it as me, and Greta's very firmly told me to read the bloody words. I'm truly sorry that I can't be with you to join in the revels on this triumphant day. But I'm actually rehearsing in London with another knight of the realm, but one who isn't quite so musical. It's a stunning invitation to become a companion of LIPA. It's an amazing institution. I still have a vivid picture of the afternoon last October when I came to visit the school and talk to you students. And I was struck how attentive you all were, how willing and curious to learn. It was flattering for me, I must say, because acting, I never really feel I know how to do it. But I do know that curiosity and observation is a very good start. You seem very prepared. And when some of you got up to do scene work, I was extremely impressed by your preparation and your talent. The continuation of your passion for the material, the craft, and your interest in honing your skills, whether it is in the workplace or watching plays and films and reading, that is what will keep you ready for the opportunities that come your way. I wish all you graduates the best of luck and look forward to meeting up with you again along your separate journeys. Thank you very much for doing me this honor.
Bachelor of Arts with Honors Dance, Chloe Atkinson Rustin. With first class honors, Megan Elizabeth Becker. Alicia Marie De Silva. With first class honors, Sophie Louise Dixon Hodge. With first class honors, Eric Andrea Dreyer Sullivan. With first class honors, Shannon Jade Edwards. With first class honors, Lucy Elaine Flashman. With first class honors, Tammy Louise Foster. With first class honors, Yasmin Annie Golden. Hannah Charlotte Johnson.
Thank you so much.
Helen Amelia McMahon. With first class honors, Paige Olivia Meehan. Lewis Norman. Elizabeth Utterholt Persson. With first class honors, Danielle Patricia Robinson.
Thank you so much.
Maren Sophia Trulsen. With first class honors, Harriet Diane Walton.
Thank you.
Liam Michael Wild. Exorce Yagi.
Yes, no photography. Okay. Christopher, please stand. Now, you are founder of a number of agencies, Dance Inc., Agency 105, and Singers Inc., and you've been creating shows, events, and entertainment solutions for 15 years. Your agencies are known for their international work with people like Madonna, Elton John, Janet Jackson, Black Eyed Peas, Little Mix, they're all unknowns really, alongside your many corporate and client events. You've written, created and directed theatre and dance production, including Revolution with Adam Garcia. You've produced the Fashion Theatre at the Clothes Show live for 3 years. You've cast the UK tours of Oh, What a Night and War of the Worlds. In 2015, you directed the UK tour of Judy, the songbook of Judy Garland. What is special about you and all our companions is that in addition to this sparkling activity, you're prepared to give up a day in your life to share your experience with us and with the next generation of dancers. Chris, we're honoured that you are here today to become a LIPA companion.
Don't mind if I just check my emails quickly before we start? Just got my speech is on here. Well, first of all, without looking down, in the last 3 years, I've travelled to probably every single performing arts establishment in the land. And I've yet to find one with the facilities and the staff that LIPA has. You've really got it going on. So well done. Congratulations. I'm also honoured to become a companion today and officially affiliated, and to witness the entry of you graduates into the industry. Your degree is an incredible achievement and illuminates not only your talent and ability, but it means that you have mental and physical stamina. And when you start something, you finish it. It stands for dedication, you can apply yourself, you possess all the admirable qualities that your future employees will appreciate in your future careers. So, congratulations on completing this first step of your journey, and may you always remember this day and the great sense of achievement you've achieved. So what next? Well, you're about to step onto a roller coaster, and like a roller coaster, this vocation, this calling, this industry you've chosen will undoubtedly have a myriad of thrills, twists and turns. The euphoric moments where your heart leaps and soars, contrasting with the inevitable curveballs. This ride will take you to success, rejection, and everything in between. I'm still on my roller coaster. Like you, I stepped on at graduation, and it's been more than a ride. It's been an adventure. So far, due to the path I chose, I'm lucky to have had an exciting and eventful life, and I still live every day knowing that my creative and best achievements are yet to come. The best piece of advice I can pass to you is what has served me throughout my entire career. I never succumbed to fear, and you must never succumb to fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, and fear of trying. Some people are actually fearful of success. I was never frightened because I knew that it was the biggest and most devastating obstacle you can put in your way. I was fortunate in my youth that we didn't have social media, YouTube and Facebook pumping out videos and imagery at me daily to make me frighteningly aware of my competition worldwide. So I focused on only me, what I could do, what I was good at and what I wanted to be good at, and I held on to the thought of why not me? So I never looked left and right of me when forging my way in the world, and I never will. It's true, I 100% advocate seeking inspiration from those you can learn from, but personally, mentorship has only propelled me forward to my goals and not made me shrink away from them. So those of you who are stepping onto this ride today, stick with it. Keep the faith and don't jump off too early, as the best bit could be around the next bend. Take strength from the fact you've already demonstrated your staying power here at LIPA. I would gladly swap places with any one of you today to do it all again, because even if you don't realise it, you truly have the world at your feet. Witnessing this graduation, I'm excited for your adventure, and I would like to take this opportunity to wish you all the very best and keep fear at bay. Thank you.
Bachelor of Arts with Honours Theatre and Performance Design. With First Class Honours, Sophia Personal. Francesca Davis. Julia Dedova. With First Class Honours, Camille Violet Egel-Etchhart. Grace Heron. With First Class Honours, Alfie James Hayward. With First Class Honours, Frances Ann Haller. With First Class Honours, Molly Elizabeth Lacey Davis. With First Class Honours, George David Lee. With First Class Honours, George Kemlin Lewis. Marit Vesterhagen Milvag. With First Class Honours, Stephanie Alice O'Hara. With First Class Honours, Heleth Mari Rees. With First Class Honours, Victoria Saville. With First Class Honours, Alice Verity Mary Smith. With First Class Honours, Jasmine Swan. Bachelor of Arts with Honours, Theatre and Performance Technology. With first class honours, Jacob Amos. With first class honours, James Blake Betts Gray. With first class honours, William Michael Dawson Bauer. Rebecca Lewis Bridges. Martin Borg Bull. With first class honours, Joshua Patrick Clegg. Yeah, great. Now, this is possibly the worst thing that could ever happen. No, there's more. Look, just hold it. Sarah Jane Clark. Jack Daniel Coleman. Samuel Day. With first class honours, John Alexander Ellis. With first class honours, Rebecca G. Philip Winter Harkitson. With first class honours, William Layton. Nathan William Lewis. With first class honours, Charlotte Rose Macomb. With first class honours, Lucy Alexandra Farrow. With first class honours, Hannah Louise Phillips. Oliver George Price. Samantha Sebage. Alice Emma Smith. Finally, you've done. Michaela Jacqueline Siobhan Stewart.
Thank you very much.
Thomas John Waters. With first class honours, Amy Elizabeth Wally. With first class honours, Amy Leslie Woods. Michael Allen Woods.
Thank you, Richard. And now see why it's called theatre performance. Alan. Now, Alan, you are the artistic director of Slung Low, directing most of their performances over the last decade, including work at the Barbican, the RSC, the Almeida, West Yorkshire Playhouse, Liverpool Everyman, Singapore Arts Theatre, and the Lowry. Your company creates, for those of you who don't know, adventures outside conventional theatre spaces for audiences locally, nationally and internationally, often with huge community casts and loud explosions. You make work on trains, in castles, swimming pools and town centres. In his latest book, Darren describes his experience walking through the centre of Sheffield with the rest of the audience, experiencing your production of Camelot, listening to the action on headphones, as he wrote, quite unlike anything I've ever experienced. One of your blogs points out that it's not instinctive to think that theatre belongs to people in the way we think the NHS, the BBC, and protected forests do. You want to make theatre appear natural, widespread, and to feel that civic theatres belong to us. One way of achieving this is pay what you decide. Now, pay what you decide, this is what it happens. One of the Slung Low team stands up at the end of each show and explains that explains what the jar on the bar is for. And this is where you hand over what you feel the performance deserves, and all the money goes to the artists. That's pretty good. As you say, I want our theatres to belong to all parts of society, passionately held as resources of the common weal, not to be buggered about by politicians. You're also artistic director of the recent national commemoration of the centenary of the Battle of the Somme, and you've directed in Croatia, Buckingham Palace, and southern India. Alan, we're honoured that you are here today to become one of our companions.
It's an incredible privilege to be here. I've been lucky enough over the last 10 years to invite a number of graduates and undergraduates into my company from LIPA, and I've never found them to be anything other than brilliant and useful and hard-working and talented. They are the stormtroopers of the imagination. Yeah, and we need them now more than ever. And the world is increasingly a difficult place and increasingly unfair, and I thought long and hard about what I could say to young people with all this talent going out into the world today, and it's be useful. In that incredibly flattering introduction to me, what was missing is the most useful thing I've ever learned to do is cook a meal for 30 people at the back of a transit van and look good doing it. It's how... True. It's true. It's how I built my first performance company when I had no money, no funding, and no support. And it's what I did last week when I went to the jungle in Calais and met a bunch of graduates of performing arts who decided to spend some of their life trying to make the reality, the lived reality of refugees more acceptable. And be useful is what I have. Don't let anyone else tell you the core value of your work. It's yours, it's your art, it's your artistry. Be naturally suspicious of anyone who tells you that the core value of your work is the increase in GDP. Be naturally suspicious of the people who tell you that the core value of your artistry is how many white wines are sold in the interval and how many merchandise baseball caps are sold on the exit. It's your art, it's your value, and you define the terms of this. During the 2 weeks around Brexit, I've only got 2 minutes.
No, it's good. Keep on going.
During the 2 weeks around Brexit, I was doing a show. I was living in a camp with 20 artists at the RSC with one of the most amazing young talents I've ever met, Heleth, who we've just seen graduate. And we were living in the grounds of the RSC, and we were trying to open the portal to the fairy world. And as the news of how angry our nation was and how divided it was, it felt like the most ludicrous expenditure of time ever. And actually, as the week developed, and we saw people come together, and we saw that division somehow trying to work itself out in the people who attended, we realised the project was working. Now, the RSC, if they were here, they might tell you that project worked because 35% of the people who came to see it had never been to the RSC before. And the press department would tell you that it got so many inches of press coverage, and the marketing department would tell you about ticket sales, fine. But it was my project, and I know what the core value was. And the day after the murder of the MP, Jo Cox, who was a woman walking around Stratford, and she was trying to process the anger that she felt, the upset she felt, and she had no one to talk to. And she turns the corner and she finds an impossible bonfire with us all sitting around it, saying, we'll cook you lunch, come, sit, talk. And me and Heleth and the rest of the team, we talked to her, and at the end of that, when she left 2 hours later, the tiny amount of succour that she had got only comes from spending time in a useful, artistic community. So I beseech you, find one as soon as you can and hold on to them. Be brilliant and be useful, and the very best of luck.
Oh, well, it's me again. Christopher. This is Christopher Shutt. Christopher, you are, sorry. Not dead yet. You are the Tony Award-winning sound designer for Warhorse and a 6-time Olivier Award nominee. You've been head of sound at the Bristol Old Vic, the Royal Court, the RSC, and the National, the last combining with sabbaticals with Complicité, travelling the world with devised theatre. As a freelance sound designer, you've worked on and off Broadway in the West End and beyond, and as well with people like Tom Waits, Al Pacino, the Los Angeles Philharmonic, Judi Dench, and Benedict Cumberbatch. You've talked about, when you were with us, a relatively new term, the creative team, not working away individually, but all together. As you said, we need to know what others are doing to make the whole thing work. A theme central to what we do by bringing all the performance disciplines together under one roof and here in one room. You are artistic associate at the Bristol Old Vic, and right now you are the resident sound designer for Kenneth Branagh's theatre company. Chris, we are honoured that you are here to become a LIPA companion.
Goodness. I'd like to thank Mark and Paul and Richard for giving me this great honour. I was just thinking about the first time I came to Liverpool. I'd just graduated myself, and I came up with a friend, and we drove to a Chinese restaurant he recommended, which was just down the road from LIPA. I was a bit green, and we parked outside the restaurant, and these two 12-year-old kids came up to us and said, I won't do the accent, 50p to look after your car, mate. And I thought, well, that's pretty good value, isn't it? Maybe if I give him another 50p, he might hoover the inside and polish the hubcaps. And then the second time I came up was actually to come to LIPA. This was like 30 years later. And here I was. And the first thing that struck me was the difference. Of course, I came up by train for a start. And of course, once bitten. And the first thing that strikes you, of course, is that amazing building, and then the facilities, which are just extraordinary. And people have talked about those already. But the most amazing thing about it is the pride and enthusiasm of the students, their eagerness, their openness, their passion, their dedication to their chosen subject. And it restored my faith in the future of our country. No matter what they're inheriting, I know that they won't just lie down and take it, that they'll get out there and they'll change things. They'll realign the world for the modern age. They'll harness the technology that they've grown up with that's second nature to them and is a complete mystery to most of the people sitting on the front bench here. We need to hear your voices now. We've heard enough of voices from people like me, so just get out there, do your work, and change things. Make good choices. Express yourselves in whatever way you can to make this world a better place. And at this point, I would normally come up with a quote from Shakespeare that would be appropriate, but I couldn't find one. So here's one from the late, great Whitney Houston. I believe the children are our future. Well, no, you forgot the next line. Treat them well and then let them lead the way. Good luck to you all. Congratulations.
Bachelor of Arts with Honours Music, Rachel Altunian. Laura Jane Bennett. With first class honours, Joshua Betley. With first class honours, James Bracken. Kate Alexandra Bryson. With first class honours, Emma Frances Berkeley. Rhys Andrew Cairns. Jung Hee Chai. Jiwon Chung. Callum James Clark. Leela Elizabeth Dawson. With first class honours, Katya Anne-Marie Edwards. Paul Martin Enstad Hansen. done, mate. Very well done. With first class honours, Terrell Omar Farrell. Stephen Joshua Fitzpatrick. Espen Runa Horn. Grace Elizabeth Holland. Well done, Grace. Well done. Christina Hummerfeld. Well done, Rob. Well done. With first class honours, Michael Thomas Jones. Gregory Joy.
Been a while.
Ji-Yoon Kim. With first class honours, Elena Christiansen Brun. Ruben Krogstad. Orden Matthias Nobelage Fries Larding. Laura Lidders. Shi Ying Isabel Lim. With first class honours, Jake Lipietz. With first class honours, Daniel David Miller. With first class honours, Vanessa Murray. With first class honours, Guriel Nielsen. Sharif Osman. Mariana Bremnes Otterson. With first class honours, Andreas Oxholm. Monica Pascoe. With first class honours, Benjamin Mark Pavley. With first class honours, Alexander Barkowski Rathvold. Sturla Sandvik. With first class honours, Lara Jane Alice Simpson. Congratulations. Andreas Gierda Skugen. Brittany Lee Soldo. Daniel Stokes. With first class honours, Katie Christina Tarrant.
Well done, Katie. Nice spoon as well.
Guy Christian George Turner. Robin Wilkinson. And for the Certificate of Higher Education in Music, Christian Taverley Iverson.
Where is he? Tom. Could you now stand? Tom, as you explained, the first part isn't very funny, actually. I don't know why. Anyway, as you explained, you had your first nervous breakdown when you were 16 because you fell in love with someone who was the wrong sex. You reminded us that in 1966, if you were gay, you were sent to prison for 4 years, as if locking you up with a whole lot of other men would solve things. In the late 1970s, in various bands, including your own, you wrote Sing If You Are Glad to Be Gay, which, although making the top 20, banned your music from the BBC for 7 years. Your debut album went gold in this country and in Japan. Then you married someone of the wrong sex and had children. Between 1975 and 2001, you released 19 albums with various bands and co-wrote songs with Elton John, Dan Hartman and Manu Katché. A year ago, you released your first album in nearly 20 years. Despite the ban, you've presented programmes on all BBC's national radio stations, and you've won 2 Sony Gold Awards. You were a full-time presenter on BBC Radio 6 Music and have been since it started. You said without qualification that this is the best time ever to be a musician, to be heard, to build an audience, and to start a career. It's no longer essential to have money, inside contacts, and the approval of gatekeepers. When you describe what it was like when, if you don't mind, when we were growing up, this made sense, which is why you're a champion of new music, hosting music blogs like Fresh on the Net, and sharing this belief with people like ourselves. Tom, we are honoured that you are here to become a LIPA companion.
Am I allowed to take the hat off?
Oh, yes.
It's precarious here. Well, thank you so much. I mean, I've always been welcomed in the city and felt made very much at home, and coming to talk at LIPA felt like a homecoming. And thank you so much for welcoming me into your family. I have vivid memories of that group of students, both talking to you about my own story, but also chatting with you afterwards and being struck by the energy and diversity of that group of people and how at ease everyone was with each other and with themselves. Now, my generation bang on about the record industry being in decline and how awful world conditions are and prospects of jobs shrinking and economy's in recession. And they go, it's not like the good old days. And when you hear my generation banging on about the good old days, in my case, that's the 1950s. My brother goes on about the good old days of Elvis and Little Richard, Chuck Berry. It's also the decade of national service, hanging, corporal punishment, no dogs, no blacks, no Irish, no unmarried mothers, and definitely no gays. So it wasn't really such good old days. Refugees, we were awash with refugees. Europe was in ruins. Economy going down the tubes. We had no economy to speak of in the 50s. It was ghastly. So don't hanker back to anybody's ideas of good old days. The 60s weren't much better with the Vietnam War and all the other stuff that happened. 60 years on, of course there's still turmoil and problems today, but you who are graduating are growing up, you have grown up in a kinder, more tolerant and far more diverse society than when I was young. You've grown up as artists inspired by a wealth of African, American, Caribbean and world music that is the lifeblood of the creativity that we all love in this country. And the good news, as you've heard from the other speakers, is although you still need belief, persistence, dedication, hard work, real hard work, and a fair bit of luck, today, unlike for my generation, you no longer, as you say, have to have money or insider contacts or those kind of special insider bits of knowledge. Thanks to institutions like LIPA, and thanks above all to social media. I mean, I know the social media has its downsides, but what the upside is that today you don't have to go through a record company to get heard. You don't have to have the Radio 1 playlist allow you to be heard. In my day, if you didn't get on the Radio 1, nobody would ever hear your record. Today, thanks to YouTube, Facebook, social media, all you have to be is good. And that's what this has all been about, getting you to that stage where you are great at what you do. Now, I'll just finish with saying that on the 23rd of June, something in this country changed. Driven by growing inequality, Tim gave us a timely reminder of conditions in many parts of the country are no better than they were in the 50s. And egged on by people like Boris Johnson and newspapers like The Sun, people voted for a return to the good old days. Now, this has got nothing to do with party politics. It's not even got anything to do with the EU. It's got to do with the fact that friends of mine who were born here, who spent all their lives here, in the last few weeks have been verbally abused by complete strangers, telling them to go back where they came from. And it suggests that when Boris and Mr. Murdoch said, let's make Britain great again, a small minority of people misread that and understood it as, let's make Britain white again. Now that kinder, more tolerant and diverse society that we've come to know and love is worth fighting for. So whatever anyone else says to you, don't let anyone kid you otherwise. The good old days are here and now.
Foundation Certificate in Acting and Musical Theatre. Sophie Alexandra Ranscombe-Drew. Lauren Foster. Josephine Hellerud. With distinction, Berwyn Jones. Leah Nicole Tanya Levine. With distinction, Saskia Abigail Pay. Megan Sarah Robson. Connor Simpkins. Emma Elizabeth Louise Webber. Amy Elizabeth Murphy.
Foundation Certificate in Commercial Dance, Evie Laurel Collinson. Elizabeth Jane Drew. Thank you. Madison Tyler Edwards. Sarah Lucia Alessandra Emmons. Sky Hannah Fletcher. Amy Louise Hindle. Bethan Jones. Clara Mary Kerr. Holly Louise Plumley. Scarlett Primrose.
Ah, thank you. Thank you.
Heather Louise Walford. Dominique Marie Ward. Alice Samantha Wells. Emily Catherine Worrell.
For the award of Foundation Certificates in Popular Music and Sound Technology, Gil Ben-Meir. Amy Bryant. Erica Skogash Darlin. Shea Sol Evans. Valentino Tiziano Fornito. Joshua Robert Grant. Laura Rebecca Greasley. Harry Thomas Holmes. Bronwyn Lily Hughes. Matea Hoosby. Vilda Johannessen. Cecilia Carlson. Zach Langford Doe. Christian William George McAdam. Gard Roggenskog Nodset. Mary Elizabeth Ross. Luke Ross Staniland. Kristrun Steingrimsdottir. Agnes Victoria Stock. Ruby May Titus Cobb. And with distinction, Elizabeth Yarwood.
Now, we have some awards. These are just two of these, so they both can be sort of more or less done together. But the first one goes to one of our honoured friends. And honoured friends are people who have done things really out of the goodness of their hearts for us. They haven't expected payment, bit of relief, and have continued to do so. And the first person I'd like to honour like this is Tetsuya Hamada. So Tetsuya, would you kindly stand? Now, it's really wonderful to give you this award because you are the person for whom this award was created. You were the role model of someone who donated time and energy without financial reward to help us. And every year since then, we've wanted you to receive this award. And this year, the 20th anniversary of our birth, is the moment that you were able to travel a huge distance for this moment. At the start, you helped us audition and recruit Japanese students. You also helped by coordinating a fundraising lunch we held in Tokyo when we were trying to raise the £18 million it cost us to get off the ground. And since then, you've continued to help us, and we know we can turn to you. When you're not helping us, you're CEO and founder of the Produce Center Company Limited in Japan. You're a multimedia production and publishing house based in Tokyo. You've been instrumental in encouraging the development of a unique Japanese Beatles culture through many varied activities. You've coordinated several other international projects, amongst them the John Lennon Museum in Japan and the Imagine Peace Tower in Iceland. Tetsuo, as you can easily imagine, I'm honoured that you are here to become an honoured friend.
Thank you, Sir Paul and Mark. This is the first time I've received an award since primary school. Yeah. So, I'm very proud, and you should all be proud too. Understand? Congratulations. Yeah.英語のスピーチはここまでにしまして、あと日本語でやらせてほしいんですけど、皆さんいいですか?
Tetsuo has reached the end of his English, so he's asked me to translate for him for the rest of his speech. Please bear with him.
Thank you. マークさん、今から22年前の出来事だったと思うんですよ。マークさんから連絡があったんです、僕のところに。
I think it's now some 22 years, Mark, since I first had contact with you when you called me one day.
日本になんだか面白い男がいて、きっと役に立つかもしれないと、ポールのオフィスの誰かがマークさんに言ったんだと思うんです。
You told me that someone from Paul McCartney's office had called to say that there was this rather interesting character in Japan that might be able to help out if you spoke to him nicely.
で、マークさんの話ですと、サー・ポールがリードパトロンになって、プロを目指す国際的なパフォーミングアーツの大学をリバプールに作るから協力してくれって言うんですよ。日本の私に。
So he told me that he was putting together an international performing arts school in Liverpool with Sir Paul as the lead patron, and he wanted me to help. Me, in Japan.
でも僕こう思ったんですよ。リパのようなパフォーミングアーツの国際的な大学、こういうスタイルのものって絶対日本でも将来必要になるなと直感したんですね。
But I felt sure that there was a role for a school like this for the Japanese people as well. It was something that was necessary, so I determined to help.
で、協力することにしまして、まずは設立のための寄付金集め、それからリパを日本でプロモートして、できるだけ多くの日本やアジアの留学生をリパに送り込むこと、その2つが主な役割だったような気がします。
So I felt that the ways I could help were first of all to set about helping in the fundraising activities, and secondly to promote LIPA within Japan and encourage students to come for audition.
寄付金集めでは日本での各界の有力者を集めてランチョンをやったり、それから日本のビートルズのファンクラブのメンバーも随分協力してくれたんです。
So the first thing he did was to put together a fundraising lunch for the key players in the industry and help make the case. And then we also had a lot of help from the members of the Japanese fan club.
皆さん気づいてます？正面玄関のところから2階に上がる階段あるじゃないですか。あそこにネームプレートが入ってるの皆さん知ってますか？
I don't know if you all know, but in the main hall of on the staircase that goes up from the main hall of LIPA, there are nameplates on all of the steps going up.
マークさん、確か日本から70段ぐらい寄付してますよね。ファンクラブのメンバーが階段の寄付をやってくれたんです。
I think, Mark, we remember we have something like 70 plates with Japanese names on who donated, made contributions to the original building.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. 日本から通算で40名を超える留学生もこちらで学んだということだと思います。
And I think now we have had more than 40 Japanese students graduate from LIPA.
外から見てまして、特に日本人の私なんかが見てて、リパの理念の中に今までなかったすごく斬新な着想があるということに僕は気づいています。
I think looking at LIPA, especially from the outside, maybe from Japan, there are certain unique and very admirable, outstanding educational principles in the school.
例えばリパは一つの縮図です。何の縮図かって言えば業界の縮図ですよね。つまりパフォーマーとそしてそれを支えるスタッフがみんな学生なんですよね。そしてお互いに協力し合って支え合ってやってるんですよね。
One of the things that's very important is that this is really like a microcosm of the whole industry that you'll be working in. And everyone is students, from the performers to all the people who work backstage. You're all learning together and learning how to work out and cooperate with each other.
また積極的に世界中から留学生を受け入れてる、これ素晴らしいことですよ。いわゆるリパの素晴らしさって多様性の中のいわゆる相互の協力っていうのがこの教育の中にあるんじゃないかと思ってですね。
The other thing that's wonderful is how you actively encourage so many people from different countries to come here and study. And what you're doing here is you're learning how to collaborate with each other, with people from different backgrounds. You're learning to work together, and that's a wonderful thing.
残念ながら今の世界はアメリカの大統領選挙やこの間のイギリスの EU の離脱を見ても分かるようにみんな内向きになってます、世界中が。
Because unfortunately, whether you're looking at the American presidential election or the Brexit vote that happened in this country recently, all around the world, countries are beginning to look inward on each other.
ですから皆さん、リパで学んだことをぜひ、この機会にぜひ実践してほしいと思います。
So I very much hope that what you learn here will help you deal with this situation.
つまりお互いの多様性を認め合って相互に協力し合う、それがこの今の世界の状況を超える一つのキーになるんじゃないかと思っています。
Because we need to be embracing diversity and learning to work with each other, and that's how we're going to be able to overcome the world situation.
それとすごくThank you. Thank you. それとすごく重要なことです。音楽あるいは人々を感動する表現の持つ力、それを皆さん学んだと思うんですよね。
And then the other thing I think that's most important is that you're learning the power of music and artistic expression to touch and move people.
僕がこういうのはおかしいんですけど、やはり音楽には力があると思うんです。実例を一つだけご紹介します。
I think music has this amazing power to move people, and there's an example of it that I'd just like to touch on.
今から49年前ですから、皆さんにとってははるか昔ですよね。
We're going back 49 years into the mists of time. It's before the time of most of you here.
1967年、アメリカのベトナム戦争がだんだん過激になっていた時代です。
I'm talking about 1967 when we were in the throes of the Vietnam War, which was getting worse all the time.
世界24カ国の国々が参加し合って一つの宇宙中継の番組を作りました。
But there was a live satellite TV broadcast that was arranged then involving 24 different countries.
人類史上初めての実験的な番組でした。
It was an experimental program. It had never been done before.
これは Our World っていうタイトルがついています。
And the name of the program was Our World.
イギリスから参加した出演者は誰だか知ってます？
I'm sure you may know who was representing Britain at that occasion.
The Beatles です。
The Beatles.
All You Need Is Love をAll You Need Is Love を全世界に向けて歌ってくれたんです。みんなを励ましたんです。4億人が見ました。
The Beatles performed their song All You Need Is Love in front of the whole world and thrilled them with it.
なんと4億人が見たんですよ。
Apparently some 400 million people watched that
同時に。
simultaneously.
つまり音楽が国境を越えて世界を結んだ一つの実例だと思うんです。
It was an example of how music can cross international boundaries and transcend differences.
皆さん卒業されてそれぞれの場所で今度は活躍することになると思います。
So you're all now graduating and you'll be going back to your countries and where you came from.
それぞれの国でここで学んだネットワーク、皆さんのつながりを生かしながらぜひ世界を変えていってください。音楽の力、あるいは感動する表現の力で変えていってもらえれば嬉しいです。ありがとうございました。
So I look forward to you going back to your countries and using what you've gained here to make networks, to keep yourselves connected and to bring the world together. And that's what I hope to see you doing from now on in. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Right, our last honoured friend, Paul, will you stand, please? Now, some of you may know, because we have a studio named after them called the Sennheiser Studio, because Sennheiser have supported us from the time we began. And we were glad a few years back when the founder's son wasn't me. This rubbish we hear. Anyway. This founder's son, Jörg Sennheiser, became one of our earliest companions. But our go-to person over years was Paul. Performing arts institutions require equipment, both new and renewable, and we are relatively greedy. You never flinched. As our graduates joined your company, often Sennheiser scholarship winners, your connection with us widened and deepened. After being head of global sales, you became president of strategic collaborations, your last post before retirement, where you fostered the company's global reputation by collaborating with a range of individual and industry partners, including ourselves, a central part of that company's future vision. You've now become freelance, which we hope will mean you can spend even more time with us. Paul, we're honoured you're here today to become a LIPA honoured friend.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Paul. At the end, it's always, I'm fortunate to come on at the end because I can pick bits of what everyone has said, but it can also ruin your whole speech because they've already said a lot of those things. But I'll try and keep to what I've said because I think it's important. I've been involved, as Mark said, with LIPA pretty much from the start. When I came to see Mark to say, well, Sennheiser wants to get involved in this great opportunity, it was a building site. And we tried to visualise how this was going to be funded. Mark was on about funding, and also how it would be, how we could get this vision of being a performing arts school. And how could we get involved? And Mark said, well, you just give us money, that'd be good. But I said, no, we want to do a bit more than that. So we introduced the scholarship scheme and then developed that with Mark and John further to get into more presentations, workshops, and also some awards, which you will see a bit later. Over the years, I was fortunate enough to meet a lot of people. A lot of those people are here today. And gain some experience from them and also be involved with a lot of interesting projects. I also see a lot of changes. Tom said about the good old days. It wasn't always as good, and there was a lot of opportunities for people that wanted to look forward and go after those opportunities. It's a great industry to be part of as well. When Mark told me I was going to be an honorary friend, he said, you've got to make a speech. Okay, that's no problem. What would you like me to say? So we'll give a few words of advice and also maybe some experience of LIPA. So I sent him 14 pages and he said, no, that's far too long. I said, well, there's a lot of things to talk about with LIPA. So we slimmed it down to what we got here today. So what is my advice? I've got some advice, and I say about the personal experience to the students. Advice? Do something else. Don't go into this crazy sound industry. But no, seriously, it is a great industry, a really fantastic industry. It's difficult at times, it's challenging, but it's still exciting and exhilarating and rewarding when you get there. You've heard a lot of stories today from people that have also been involved in this industry for a long time. My experience, I try to remember many different experiences I had at LIPA with the students. And it was last year, I think, if I remember rightly, it was where we got a number of the previous scholarship students together to give their experiences of what's happened now they've gone out into the world, back to the students that are going through the scheme at the moment. We thought about this idea and we talked a lot about it, and I thought, yeah, it sounds like an interesting idea, but none of us really knew how this would go. I think Mark and John, we all shared the same sort of concerns about, is this going to work? Are people going to be really interested? Are students going to come along? It was a voluntary thing, but many did. And it turned out to be an absolutely magical day. There was a great warmth and a great passion shared from those students that are already out there working in the industry. It brought a really interesting discussion into that room about the future of the industry, about what could change, how you can make changes, and you can make changes. And it could have gone on for hours, and unfortunately, due to other schedules, we had to cut it short, but we did some more round tables afterwards as follow-ups to that day. But I think that afternoon, for me, captured the whole spirit of LIPA, that real passion that everyone has here. So for me, that was one of the big experiences. My words of advice. There's been lots of words of advice today. Before I took my chosen path, which ended up being mainly in the sales side of the industry, before I did that, I wanted to be a sound engineer. That was my passion. I was passionate about sound. But in those good old days, as Tom mentioned, there was no LIPA, there was no colleges, there was no way of getting into this, and actually what was called careers officers in those days had no idea about this crazy industry. Was that something to do with music, people playing guitars? You don't want that, my son. What you want to do, the police or the army are looking for radio engineers. That's something to do with sound, isn't it? Not quite what I had in mind anyway. So I didn't pursue that. I went out there and tried to do something else, try and get involved in this industry. And I managed to achieve that. Not as a sound engineer, but someone who managed to meet a lot of people, a lot of very interesting people, and see a lot of very interesting projects and be part of that, include LIPA being part of that. So what's my advice? And many of us have sort of talked about this today in different ways, but it's, always look forward. Don't look down. If you start looking down, that's where you go. Look up. Look forward. Keep positive. Because you will go out there after you graduate today and you'll have doors closed in your face and it hurts. And you think, I've studied all this time to be part of this. And I've heard such great things about this industry, but it's difficult. They're closing doors. But don't give up. Don't give up. Just keep looking forward. If you keep looking down, self-fulfilling prophecy. That's where you go. And I try to relate that to something else that I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about driving fast cars. And an instructor once said to me, halfway round a bend that we were taking too fast, where are you looking? I said, where I'm skidding. He said, don't do that, because that's where you end up. Look where you want to go. Look round the bend, and that's where you'll end up. Similar advice. So keep that in mind when you go out there. Keep positive, keep going for your goals, and keep looking up. So today it's your day. You have some proud parents and friends out there. But it's your day. Enjoy the day. Congratulations to all of you. You've been part of a fantastic institution so far. You'll still be in touch with this institution. But you're also going into another part which is fantastic as well. It's a great industry. It's great. It's full of fun. It's full of heart. If you work hard, you'll get there. So keep going after your goals. I've always kept going after my goals. I managed to succeed. I still have one to try and convince Paul and his engineers to use a different vocal mic one day on stage, but maybe I'll get there one day. But no, whatever you do, enjoy, and thank you very much.
You in a moment. Now, before prizes are awarded, we generally want to hear from one of our graduates, because their future is, of course, why we do what we do. In a few years' time, we'll be hearing from one of you. So, each year we take another discipline in turn, and this year it's the time of community drama, about to be renamed Applied Theatre and Community Drama. Matty, who's here, graduated in 2011. Since then, he's been creating theatre for community groups, locally, nationally, internationally, from a junk music collective in Liverpool's bombed-out church to creating theatre with serving prisoners in Chile. And we contributed to the airfare. He's going to tell us a bit more, although he isn't going to mention his Kersler Award, which I've just done, and particularly what motivates him, echoing what Tim said a little earlier. Matty.
Where to start? I thought I could start off with some quirky anecdote about a night out down Hardman Street, or the time I did a split kick in movement class, but I have to be honest, my career in community theatre has not been held up by split kicks and nights out alone. It has been held up by a passion that's been nurtured by my tutors, it's been encouraged by my family, my mum's crying, as always, and certainly inspired by the members of the community I have had the pleasure to work alongside. It's a passion for theatre. It's a passion to change the society we live in. From the day I came to LIPA in 2008, that passion has never faded. And it never should, because it's our right, as artists, as musicians, dancers, facilitators, actors, designers. Sorry, I can't fit you all in, it would go on for a very long time indeed. But why is it our right? Because as well as artists, we are citizens. And the artist is the critical citizen. It's the artist is there to expose myths, to challenge the status quo and ask a very simple question. Do we have to accept the world as it is, or do we question it? But where has this passion taken me? It's taken me from working with young homeless people here in Liverpool, to prisoners in Chile, school children in Zimbabwe, and even a guest appearance on the children's show, Zingzillas. It has awarded me a Winston Churchill Fellowship, a master's degree in theatre and global development, and since last October, a fully funded doctoral scholarship at the University of Leeds. And none of it, thank you very much. And none of it would have been possible if that little seed wasn't planted when I first walked through those doors on Mount Street, for which I am always indebted to LIPA and all of the staff there for that. But when I start a new project, I often begin by asking participants to share their name, that awful cringe moment of an icebreaker game, which we will all soon start to know about once we go out into the working world, and how we would like to change the world. It's a simple question, but it's a big question. Whether in a small office on Scotty Road or a classroom in Colina 1 prison in Santiago, it's about people talking passionately, envisioning futures and discovering an alternative. Because as we've heard, in a world where we get told there is no alternative, there is most certainly a need to seek for one. But passion is the key to that process, making the impossible possible. Now, my advice: be brave enough to apply for the jobs might appear out of reach. Audition for the roles you know you won't easily be cast for. Propose radical ideas which funders hadn't thought about, or they might not even have the money for. Don't wait for permission. Dare to dream, and never forget the passion which brought you here today, because it will sustain you. Because as artists in a forever changing world, there is nothing to lose, but there really is so much to gain. Congratulations, everybody. Thank you so much.
David Wibberley confers the Avidas Zildjian Prize for Percussion on Jake Lipietz. Martin King confers the Beatles Story Prizes on Laura Bennett, Kate Bryson, Lauren Lidduth and Vanessa Murray. Tony Thornton confers the Eden Ravenscross Prize for Creative and Technical Excellence on Jasmine Swan. Gemma Bodinet confers the Everyman and Playhouse Prize for Stage Design on Molly Lacey Davis. Tony Platt and Steve Levine confer the Music Producers Guild Award for music production and recording on Sivert Hagvet. David Brinsden confers the Sennheiser Student Achievement Award for Performing Arts Technology on Jake Medler. David Brinsden confers the Sennheiser Studio Excellence Award for studio recording and production on Simon Solberg. Liz Wilkinson and David Walton confer the AMS Neve Prize for Audio Post-Production on Aaron Clifford. David Stark confers the Songlink Prize for Best Song Musically and Lyrically on Alexander Raftvold for Unstoppable. David Stark also confers the Songlink Prize for Best Contemporary Song on Emma Butley for Prove You Wrong. Glenn Ward confers the CNA Prize for Acting on Oliver Burkill. Jeremy Grice confers the Anthony Field Producer Prize on Lauren Hemmingfield. Matthew Elliott confers the Joan Plowright Lady Olivier Acting Prize for performance on Matilda Weaver. Matthew Elliott confers the Joan Plowright Lady Olivier Acting Prize for Ensemble on Ronwen Cash. Matthew Elliott confers the LIPA Prize for Dance on Erik Dreyer Selavol and Megan Becker. Matthew Elliott confers the LIPA Prize for Enterprise on Ashley True. Matthew Elliott confers the LIPA Prize for Management on Jed Mountain and Daniel Cranes. Matthew Elliott confers the LIPA Community Drama Prize for Facilitation on Shannon Merwick. Matthew Elliott confers the LIPA Community Drama Prize for Social Entrepreneurship on Jake Lycan.
And so we come to the Philip Holt Prizes, nearing the conclusion of the ceremony, and the dramatic bit, because nobody knows who has won these. The Philip Holt Prizes, culminating in the McCartney Human Spirit Prize, are awarded annually, nominated by staff and students from across the institution to recognise the part that some students play in our daily lives above and beyond the demands of their respective courses, either through serving as ambassadors in the wider world, for providing support to others, and sometimes unwittingly by inspiring their peers through their own positivity of spirit and perhaps just raising a smile when most needed. This year there was a diversity of nominations. The nominations were notably supported by non-teaching staff, and we never take for granted the contribution catering, production, school office, security, and bar staff make to our community. Though 3 prizes are being awarded this year, we should take a moment to make honourable mention of a number of students who made a distinctive mark on the learning of their peers. Emily Page in community drama, Sarah Galagos and Michael Bryan in acting, Ashley True in management, Erik Selavol in dance, Jack Petch in sound technology, Emma Buckley in music, and Grace Heron in design. But our first prize winner was widely nominated and noted for being involved in the widest range of activities, often offering support for work well outside his own discipline. It also made him a highly valued collaborator for staff and students alike. One nominator comments, "He brings to everything a quiet personal magnetism, along with his obvious talent, compassion, and willingness to help others." A Philip Holt Prize goes to Django Holder. And our second Philip Holt Prize goes to a person described by one of his tutors as a gifted yet modest individual who always has time for others. A fellow student describes the impact. This student has worked tirelessly to make sure everyone's experience is as good as it could be, and never self-consciously for reward. This represents what we are all about. By offering internal support and opportunities to his peers, he has, almost unwittingly, been a magnificent ambassador for all we do best. To conclude, in the words of another member of staff, he is not only a memorable artist and performer, but is always both professional and gracious in all he does. He will not mind if I refer to him as a champion of the horn. This prize goes to Danny Miller. And so to our final accolade, the McCartney Human Spirit Prize. The nominations for this student were overwhelmingly fulsome in their praise. This student is quite simply a great person to have around, combining good humor, charm, and ability in the most extraordinary way. One staff member comments that this student always has a smile and a can-do attitude, and he is always on hand to muck in regardless of the task. His staff team as a whole gave a ringing endorsement, echoed by the wide range of nominations received. He never pushes himself forward, but embodies the true spirit of collaboration. As we always say, it is not only about performers, but about those who make performance possible. Many of our performances would not have been possible without him. More than once, he either metaphorically or on one occasion literally saved the show from imminent disaster. Indeed, he is one of the rare species who seem most wholly at home out of the limelight, but for the keen-eyed can often be spotted working away tirelessly in his natural environment, the scenic workshop. With both affection and gratitude, we are thrilled to award the McCartney Human Spirit Prize for 2016 to John Ellis.
Okay, so now, okay, so yeah, I never prepare what I'm going to say, and then when I get up here, I think you should have. But anyway, so a little bit of history first. I went to the Liverpool Institute as high school for boys, as it was then known, when I was 11, and I had a great education. Didn't cost my parents anything, and so I was very proud to go there, and they were very proud that I went there. Years later, after I'd been successful with the Beatles, I went back there just to pay a nostalgic visit and found that the place was derelict, the roof was leaking, the Scallies had the lead off the roof, and so I thought something has to be done. So I was looking around for things we could maybe do to try and save the building, which was originally 1825. And I was at a party, and I was talking to some guy, And he was a Liverpool guy. And we're talking about the riots that had just happened in Toxteth. And he said, you know what Liverpool needs? It's a performing arts school. So light went off, you know, and I thought, well, actually, that's a great idea, you know, so many great talented people from here. So I started talking to Mark about this, and that became our dream. And so it is fantastic, all these years later, to be here after all those years of quite hard struggle in the beginning. And not everyone was forthcoming. I mean, the weirdest things were the people you thought would be most keen to educate people, like the government, weren't. As I had so many arguments with like education ministers and stuff. I said, it's not my job, it's yours, you know. Anyway, so we got there, and this is the result here, this year's crop of fine young students about to set out into the world. I think the thing is, you know, you've had loads of great advice. For me, I think you just kind of keep on and you follow your passion, as people said, because you never know where it's going to lead you. And if you're lucky, it can lead you into some of the strangest places. So me, following my passion, I ended up a few years ago playing a concert in Moscow, in Red Square. And we actually were the first rock and roll band to play in Red Square with the Kremlin and the whole sort of thing. And, you know, if you'd have told me when I was going to the school that I'd end up in Red Square doing a concert, it was the Cold War then, so there was like, you know, no likelihood. Anyway, there I was. And we had a great concert. The people were great. And backstage, we happened to have members of the Russian government who were all milling around. I think it was a free booze. But they're knocking around behind us because it's the Kremlin, so the government ministers are there. And one of the guys comes up to me, and one of my guys said, this guy is big in the Russian government. So he comes up to me, and he says, Paul, we learned to speak English from listening to Beatles records. So you never know where it can get you. He then looks me straight in the eye. He goes, hello, goodbye. Anyway, so I'm so proud of what we've managed to achieve here through Mark's hard work and through the tutors and through you, the parents and the relatives and friends, but mostly through the students. Because as people have all remarked, the spirit here is incredible. It really is very moving to come to this school and to just see the optimism and the faith and that these kids have. They're not kids now, you're big people now. But so, you know, the thing is, I would say just keep it up. Make sure you enjoy your own lives whilst you're giving to other people. Don't forget yourself. Make sure you have a great life. Never give up. It's important. And rock on. Oh, just one more thing, one more word to Tetsu there, who's been a great help to us. But Tetsu, you've got to get someone to help you with your packing. That waistcoat got terribly crinkled.
All right, now we're finally in the last stretch, and in a few minutes you'll be formally admitted to your awards by Edward from Liverpool John Moores University and myself. And my short address is it's in 4 parts. The first part is looking forward to hearing what happens to you. The second part is memories of a friend. The third is a note about secondary schools and curriculum. and it ends with something close to a prayer. So the first one is, we look forward to hearing from you. I don't know whether you've seen this, there's some outside. It's called See Me Now, and this is basically our alumni magazine, and you will be profiled in 2019. It's really going to be as fast as the 3 years you've spent with us. It just whizzes past. This is the latest edition. We found about 85% of students who left 4 years earlier, and of that 90% were working, and 75% broadly in the performing arts. We said when you arrived, if you remember, this probably sounded a little bit cheesy about shaking the hand of the person next door to you, who could be your next employer, or you might be their employee, or your business partner, and it's exemplified yet again in this. So, to echo something that Ian said right at the very beginning, your news is critical because it helps us check whether we're doing what we want to do, which is sustained work. That's the first part. The second part is this. George Martin died earlier this year. In May, there was a memorial service in London which achieved an amazing balance between mentioning his achievements and the person that he was, his range of tastes. Amongst his beautiful music, written by him, we heard Bernard Cribbins perform Hole in the Ground, and Alexandra Armstrong perform Futile Gesture sketch from Beyond the Fringe. There can't be many memorial services that have that kind of range. And there was a man there called Campbell Anderson, whose family was very close to the Martins, very clearly, and he delivered a eulogy. I'm just going to give you a little bit of it, and it went like this. It seems obligatory on these occasions to say something nice about the man whose life we are remembering, and in this respect, giving this tribute is a doddle, because George was unarguably a very nice man. But like most of us, George had his failings. And I believe it's necessary to address some of these. Well, at this point, we all perked up. The first was, he was not a good loser, specifically at snooker. And this was surprising, because he seemed to have a lot of practice at losing. And quite honestly, we all hoped he'd learn to handle it better. George was, serious note now, but George was a major figure in my life and in the creation of our institution. He was the only person, and I spoke to as many people as I could find, who was prepared to actually lend a hand, a full hand, when I presented him with just an idea, which 30 years ago became the Brit School in London. And at some point in my life, I always rather hoped that I would meet somebody who would take me under their wings. And in George, I did find someone, and he put me under his. Many people who achieve talk about a mentor, and I hope there may be an opportunity for you to all find yours. He introduced me to Richard Branson, who became the project champion for the Brit School, and then he put me and Paul together, after Paul, as he said a moment ago, shared his experience of seeing the dereliction of the Liverpool Institute for Boys, which is now our main building. George was the godfather of both schools, and in a way became my unappointed godfather as well. Without George, we would not be here in this room this afternoon. Thank you, George. Now, I'm going to change tack slightly. The annual moment of protest about the latest madness created by our political elites. And as we know, this year we're spoilt for choice. Last year, I asked everyone to lend their hand to rethink, because the government wants to rethink the secondary school curriculum, this horrible thing called the notorious EBAC. Over 100,000 people, and arts organised, signed the petition, which meant it needed to be discussed again, but not in the House of Commons, somewhere else. Pitifully few MPs turned up, easily outnumbered by the public and teachers. The government rebuffed the challenge. On a day like this, one recalls Nicky Morgan, or does one? Former Education Secretary, 2 years. warning that youngsters choosing to study arts subjects at schools could, and this is what she actually said, could hold them back for the rest of their lives. Now, any of us can have an opinion. They're like, that, well, shouldn't say that. But where's the evidence? If it's jobs, the evidence points in the other direction. Our creative industries grew by nearly 9% in 2014, almost double our economy as a whole, and delivers £85 billion worth of economic activity, more than finance does in this country, holding people back. And then there are our graduate statistics, and indeed from other institutions like ourselves, holding people back. And one might ask, holding them back from what exactly? Surely not finding out who you are, because that's what education is meant to do, isn't it? Until you know what you can do, how do you know who you are? This year's data shows there's been a 20% decline in youngsters in taking arts disciplines in GCSEs since 2010, a 10% decline in hours art is taught in schools, and an 11% decline in arts teachers. This is bad news for us and others like us. So we're watching and we're taking action. Our oversubscribed Performing Arts sixth form opens this September. And we'll be bidding to open a secondary school in 2 years' time, if we're allowed to. So today, now, all of us know the children we have, the fulfillment that comes from finding your place, doing what you're good at and what you love. We need to be alert to prevent people who know nothing affecting the lives of those we care about. That's that bit. Now, the last words almost a prayer. Go placidly amidst the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, be on good terms with everyone. Speak your truth quietly and clearly. If you compare yourself with others, you will, or you may become vain and bitter, because always there'll be people better and lesser than yourself. Life is difficult. This is a great truth, the first of Buddha's Four Nobles truths. It's a great truth because of this. If we understand it, we can transcend it. As some of our speakers have said, life is not easy, nor should it be. The difficulties we face and overcome help us evolve. Solving problems requires courage and wisdom. Solving problems creates courage and wisdom. Facing and resolving problems helps us learn, helps us grow. You'll be familiar with this. If it's easy, you aren't learning. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Someone said, don't be afraid of aiming high. Every achiever was a nobody at some point. Be cautious in your business affairs because the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to the virtue there is. Many people strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself. Especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love, for in the face of aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Love is not just a feeling, it's a commitment. Whoever and whatever we love is also who we are. Nurture the strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but don't distress yourself with imagining. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourselves. You're a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether it is clear to you or not, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace, and whatever your labors and aspirations in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace with your soul. With all its shams, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Thank you. Stirring stuff. Now, Edward, Pro-Vice-Chancellor and Chief Executive by virtue of a mandate of the Academic Board of the Liverpool Institute, no it isn't, that's us, the Liverpool John Moores University. These members of the Liverpool Institute for Performing Arts are to be admitted for their awards.
Mark, we join you in celebrating the great success of the incredibly gifted class of 2016. Can I ask all of our graduates please to stand at this moment? This is the moment you've all been waiting for, all that hard work, all that time, all of the support of your friends and family and supporters. Mark, by virtue of the authority placed in me this afternoon by the university's Board of Governors and the Academic Board, I bestow on these graduates the degrees and awards to which they are entitled. You are now graduates of the Liverpool Institute of Performing Arts and Liverpool John Moores University. Congratulations.